Hi. I have only 15 minutes. I will try to stick everything inside, else I will be near the Ignite booth after the talk. So, how can I change the slides? Okay. So yes, we are building Gnolang, a new blockchain focused on fixing multiple things we want to improve in the ecosystem with multiple new, very unique and big changes. One of them is a new language, Gnolang, which will allow to make smart contracts to the next level. So the next level of smart contracts means we are not only executing contracts, but we are more in an open source, full experience where anyone can read the source code, fork it, compose it, reuse it, modular it. So basically, we switch from just executing smart contracts in a mostly obscure way to something very open, very collaborative, and more fair. Another one is proof of contribution, which is a new consensus algorithm similar to proof of stake, but we try to replace the whales and money by contributors. So the goal is to own a blockchain as a cooperative of contributors, technically or not technically. A third innovation is about making a new BFT consensus engine. So most of the people are using Tendermint today to make low-level Byzantine fault tolerance consensus. We try to make a new version. It will be named 2. Actually, it's a different version. The actual one will still have a lot of sense. And on our own platform, we want to make at least 2 new innovations too. One of them is to have full on-chain management of the chain itself, of the proof of contributions, because the goal is to reward people based on contribution. It's harder to write rules that are universal when we need to give more or less points to contributions. So we try to make a new layering of DAOs where you can have small DAOs managing a subset and everything connected to other DAOs to have a top-level budget, very independent small DAOs. And finally, we want to make a hub marketplace for anyone to write contracts. So even outside of our chain, the goal is that you can reuse everything that is on chain with all the trust we already have, all the audits, all the quality and metrics of our smart contract libraries, so you can write secure, short code on any other chain. So first, we are creating a new language. Actually, it's based on Golang, which is a very well-known language in the web2 ecosystem. It's different from Solidity, which is Unix, that you need to learn if you want to do blockchains, but you don't learn it for any other reasons. It's also different from Wasm, which allows you to run actually Go, Rust, or many languages, but that requires that you learn how the platform is working. And once again, Wasm is like Solidity. You won't upload the sources. You will upload the binary. So you won't be able to make reusability as much as what we are trying to do with Golang, which is a Go that anyone can understand from day one. If you make the first tutorial of Golang, you can read any smart contract on Gnolang. And you can even contribute very fastly because we are not creating something different. It's basically like a web2 application. So we inherit many good attributes from Golang, which is a very well-known language for simplicity, security, composability, easy to use, easy to read, easy to maintain. But we also try to go away beyond and be more ambitious. In our case, we don't want to encourage people to publish binaries. We want them to upload the source code. So that's more like a GitHub than a platform where you upload binaries. The goal is to make an ecosystem where anyone can read, extend, reuse, fork, call, interact with, depend on any contract. And it's natively integrated with the chain. So in a normal ecosystem, you cannot easily have access to the caller, the wallet. You cannot have access to the 8 or anything. Here, we try to make it very transparent, even for a standard Go developer. We want to make IBC2 for people that know the Cosmos ecosystem. IBC is basically the the bridge between the blockchains. So we are not a layering system with layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. We are independent blockchains with many bridges, so you can interact and collaborate with other chains while staying very independent. With IBC2, we want to go way beyond just the transactions and allow you to inherit from other smart contracts, to call other smart contracts, both in read or write. We try to make one of the most fair ecosystem with a new approach of gas that match actually the real usage and which is fair for the very long run for validators, fair for the users. And we try to make metering of the calls. So if you write not the top-level contract, but a sub-level library which is massively used, you will also be rewarded because you actually wrote good open source code. So an example, by default, we interpret it. So we don't need someone to push the source additionally to the binary. By default, all the source code is available by anyone. So on the chain, you can read all the contracts. You will ask for GitHub and other open source projects not to read only the contract, but also the unit test or metadata files that help you to understand the package and everything else. So you don't have just an entry point to make transactions, but everything that is around. If you think about GitHub, actually Git was existing, but GitHub brings a lot of things around the code, like the discussion, the history, the reputation system. That's what we want to do and go beyond just the binary. We also have automatic documentation because we need the chain to understand the code. So by default, we have something basic, but it can go way beyond and have automatic documentation both on the blockchain or on a wallet or anything. And when you write something, you write a simple piece of code, and you will be able to call it with a wallet as a transaction. You will be able to import it from another contract and make inter-contract calls. And you will also have a last option, which is a by default rendering system available for anyone without any gas. So if you want to read not just the value, not just the integer or the string or anything, but if you want to execute code and get the read-only value, you can use the built-in DApp platform that will give you the result without any transaction. So you don't need to have another server on the side. The goal is to have one Gnolang chain, but many Gnolang chains. We don't want to make a big chain where everyone needs to build on it. We will build the first one, which will be the hub for good smart contract. Actually, it will be the hub if people decide it that way. But basically, the goal is that if you want to run your own chain without proof of contribution or with any other fine-tuning, you can extract and take just a Gnolang VM module and run a Go-based smart contract on your chain. So we are, like Cosmos, interconnected with other chains for transactions. And if the other chain is a smart contract blockchain, you can make inter-blockchain smart contract dependencies. So yes, the goal is to clearly go beyond and beyond just the execution. And we want to replace the current usage, which consists of publishing a contract, getting a 0x something address, and asking people or updating a front end so that people will start interacting with a 0x something address. Instead, we want contract to be named with human readable name. They will be contained in your handle. So like github.com/organization/project, you will have .learn for this chain, /username organization, /the contract name. So you can imagine not only interacting with the contract, but actually interacting with a contract which belongs to an author, which all have their reputation score. You can trust the author, you can trust the contract, you can trust the dependencies. If in the future we have many composability, you can imagine reading a new contract, importing 3 very famous libraries, which has their own billions of transaction history that you can rely to make your audit easier. So at the end, you have, as we have today with GitHub, not only a way to discover one project, but everything around, the other projects, the author project, the data, everything. So the other revolution is on trying to replace proof of stake, not with proof of work, but with proof of contribution, which is also something like ecological, like proof of stake, but where the scoring system, the voting system, and the rewarding system is based on the contribution. So you replace having many money by investing time and energy in the project. It can be technical or not technical. You will basically have two phases. The first one won't be very fungible. It will be like tiered membership. So you will be able to become membership tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. But the ultimate goal is to have a new token which is by default staked, by default non-transferable. So you earn a token that will give you rewards like any other staking, a proof of stake chain. So in the future, you make a massive contribution. You write a book, so something that takes a lot of time first and then have an impact during years. You will earn a lot of shares that will give you recurring rewards for the rest of your life. It will only be diluted over time, but you keep your shares. To manage this, we cannot rely on just code to say, OK, this is a good contribution. We need to have humans and DAOs deciding which contribution is worth having small or big rewards. So we'll have our own, we will propose a new way to make liquid democracy, to make not a DAO, but DAOs of DAOs. And it's a little bit like Ethereum or Cosmos. The goal is to have independent DAOs with their own set of rules, but connected, more like a layering system with a top-level one, which has the top-level budget. All the children below have a part of the budget, but need to make missions that go in a bottom-up approach that are useful for the top level. And the goal is to be flexible in the implementation of a DAO, but very strict in the collaboration. So you can imagine having a DAO which is managed by governance vote. So we can propose, OK, this person made a good contribution. Are we all OK to give that amount of reward? We can also have a DAO which will be led by the official leader, because I don't know, we need to make many contributions every day. Sometimes it's easier to just say, by default, we trust an elected team. We can fire the team, but we prefer to let them manage the rewards and just monitor what they are attributing. So yeah, the goal is to have many kinds of DAOs, even maybe bot-based DAOs, but it will be very strict in the relationship between a DAO and a top-level DAOs. And actually, proof of contribution is not only for the developers, because we still need validators, but we want to split and pay validators because they validate, not because they are good at marketing and proving to asking people to delegate on the validators. We want to pay validators because they validate. We want to pay contributors because they invest a lot of energy to contribute. And we also want to reward the contract authors, even the libraries. So you can hope making money because you write good open source code, which is something I hope which is the standard in the future. You write good open source code. Your library is used by other contracts. You will earn rewards and fees based on the usage. We are currently in testnet. We have basically proof of concept of everything I presented to you, so we can already write contracts. We can already have some kind of proof of contribution, very minimalistic version, etc. We are looking for help to design what are the missing pieces for the mainnet. If people want to try building on it, it's a good way to become member before it's the mainnet. And in that ID, the goal is to take part right now during the testnet to contribute to the project, become member the day the mainnet is launched, and start making rewards as soon as possible, because actually being member won't give you any rewards for the moment. It will be the future of proof of contribution, but will allow you to co-own the chain. The chain will belong to the members, so you can already try to work on it. We want to extract everything we made in a single repository into a standalone language module, a standalone proof of contribution module, a standalone BFT consensus engine. But right now, it's everything inside. And yes, the goal is to propose these new standards for each other blockchains. I have only 20 seconds. So in January, we will start announcing more information about a competition we will launch during Q1. during Q1, you will be able to participate to a competition and compete on writing good code, making good contribution even without code, and start earning membership. 5 seconds. So yes, you can join us. You can already start making contribution, earn points, become members, and co-own the future chain that will be released. I think this is finished. Yes. You can join the bi-weekly AMA with Jay Kwon next week. Jay Kwon, the creator of Cosmos, which is also the co-creator of Gnolang. Thank you.